Hello, everybody. My name is Elliot Harris. I'm one of the trustees of a group called the Cambridge Convoy Refugee Action Group, and I'm here today interviewing someone very exciting on behalf of Donate for Refugees, a fantastic charity that does a lot to support volunteers and refugees around Europe. Today, I'm really lucky to be able to talk to Omar Alshakal, founder of Refugees for Refugees in Lesvos, Greece. Can you hear us, Omar?
Yes, bro. Thanks a lot for inviting me here. Hello, I'm Omar. I'm the founder of Refugee for Refugees. I'm from Syria, and today I'm talking to you from Lesvos in Greece.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So, thank you to everybody who's watching us at the moment and everyone who's watching us later as well. If you're watching at the moment, what you can do is you can type your comments on this post and we can see them. So, if you're on this video watching it on Facebook Live, type any questions you have, any comments, and Omar and I will be able to read them. We'll be able to try to answer as best we can, and also any obviously words of support and everything like that is great as well. So Omar is hello Sue, great to see you as well. Omar is an absolute volunteering superhero in the world of help. Many of you will know about him, but may not have met him. So Omar, could you just tell us a bit about yourself and Refugees for Refugees?
Yeah, sure. Uh, yeah. Uh, as I mentioned before, I I have to flow from Syria in 2014, and my aim was to arrive to Germany and try to fix my leg. While I was in Syria, I was trying to help the people there. I drove ambulance, and 2013 I had an accident. I had a bomb come to my car, and I had injury in my both leg. And after a year, I need to go and start to do some physiotherapist, and the advice was to go and do it in Germany. I came I arrived to Germany the beginning of 2015. I stayed there for a while, and yeah, I was trying to find way how I can fix my leg. And the end of the year, I started to hear about the situation in Greece. And the beginning of 2016, when I came here and I saw what's happening, I just sorry, I just decided to stay here and try to help people in different way. I started as a volunteer. I was volunteering for almost 11 months with different organization, and the beginning of 2017, me and some friend we decided to start a new NGO called Refugee for Refugees. The Our aim was to try to help people as much we can in different places. The first project we had done, it was in Turkey, in the border between Syria and Turkey. We support there 350 kids with new clothes and some food and some drink. And after that, the first project we did in Greece was doing the rescue and providing food for the new arrival. And in November 2017, we moved to Moria Camp and we start our first distribution center. We were providing an FI and some warm clothes to the people who was living in Moria. And since then, we start to increase our project to different islands and try to support as much people we can in different way, like doing shelter, distribution, providing food. And today, our main project it's in Lesvos, of course, and also we do work in another island like Samos. We had also there our team doing distribution. And
Do you know what? Maybe Thank you for telling us. That's really great, and it's and we'll probably talk more about all the different things you do, because you've got almost like a big corporation of different things, haven't you? Your empire of wonderful volunteers going around doing things in different places. Maybe before we talk about some of the things you do, it will help if we tell people what it's like on the islands, what the different islands are, whether there's people are in houses, are they in tents, how many? Because for many of us, we just have no idea at all. So if you imagine you're telling someone who's never been to Greece, how do you think you could describe the situation in Lesbos and on the islands at the moment?
Sure. Like the as experience I had in the last few years here, the situation is changing all the time, but especially the last 6 months, it was the harder time we all had. Of course, in 2015 when the crisis happened, and of course they were having hard time, but also the border was open and people was coming like in and out. But today, since the since the deal between Turkey and the EU, people have to stop in the island, and the situation start to get bad and bad. I like my experience here all this time, like the local, they've been trying to support the refugees or whoever came here as much they can until they arrive to place. They get really tired of the situation. Like I, in the last few months, we had some accident between the local, of course, the white one, the fascist, and the NGOs and the volunteers, and also some of the refugees. It was two different things. Like some local, they were going out doing demonstration against the government to move those people away, and of course some of them, they were fascists. They were doing some crazy things. I believe, like now, for example, 3 months ago we had over 23,000 people in the island. They stuck here, but today the numbers start to go down slowly, slowly. For example, 3 months ago we had 23,000. Today we had around 16,000. The government, they are trying to move some of the people to the mainland, but also we are facing a huge problem there, because the time they are moving people from here, they are kicking out people from the camp or from the accommodation they have it there out. And today we end with huge amount of homeless in the mainland. And I believe like the situation is getting worse and worse. Like, of course, everyone is trying to help, everyone trying to do their best, but in the same time, like we do have a huge amount of people and here, and the EU doing nothing. Like, I still believe you have to do like you have to support the Greek government. I like the border is closed here. Like they don't have enough capacity to welcome all those people. They don't have enough work for them, or people they cannot do anything. People they just have to wait for their paper, or also for their asylum decision. And this drive people crazy. Like I know a lot of people, they lost their mind of waiting to get their paper and move towards to another country. But in the same time, it's not helping. The good news is the Greek government now, they agreed, like, yeah, so it's support from EU, and the 1st of September I heard they will start, I believe, 24 new location for the asylum service to start checking the paper of people. This time, for example, today, if I just arrived to the island, I need to stay after my interview. Of course, the interview will be late because all this amount of people here. But now, for example, with the new system, they will they will do the interview in very short time after they arrive, and they will give the decision after 24 hours. And I believe this will help a lot. Of course, a lot of people will get rejected and they will have to go back to their country, but in the same time, like, from my side, I believe it's a good sign. Like, unless if I was one of those people, I don't want to stay, like, spend 2 years of my life doing nothing, staying in camp in really bad condition, doing nothing all the time, just trying to spend my time standing in line to receive my food or to do my paper. And after 2 years, they will come to me and say, "You don't have a asylum here. You have to go back to your country." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose that's the waiting there. That's so much of the problem is you don't know what's happening and you don't know where you're going. So, as I understand it, there's a large camp on Lesbos, Moria Camp, and some smaller camps, and these are largely state-run camps, but perhaps don't have all the facilities that you'd expect. If we say look at Moria, is the camp big enough for all the people in there? Is there accommodation provided for people? How does it
Of course
run?
not. Of course not. Like the camp, when they built it, it was the capacity of 3,200. And 3 months ago, we end with 20,000 people living there. Of course, today the number is going down like 16,000, but still, like people living in structure, they build it themselves. Or some of the actors like us, we provide tent for them to live there. And also the NGOs trying to support them with installing some wash facility and electricity. Different NGOs who's working there trying to support them as much they can, but in the same time we are not a government. Like this work should the government do it, but I mean not only the Greek government, I mean the whole EU government, they need to agree. Like those, like I still believe, and people, actually not people need to believe, people because the people here in Europe, they know who we are, but the government, they don't know. Government, they don't, like they don't believe in us. I like my message. It's always, I just need people to understand we are not animal. We are human, like everyone. If you go to the camp, you will find a lot of experienced people, like engineer, doctors, people who has like who was having a life, and in a day he lost everything and he have to end in a camp doing nothing there, and they are losing all those people. Like I again, I know a lot of people who lost their mind just sitting in the camp doing nothing until they get crazy, and this is not a solution for anyone. This is not a good sign for the future.
Mm. Absolutely, and thank goodness that there's people like you and some of the other NGOs who are stepping in and doing some of the work here. Um, so that's Lesbos camp and Lesbos. Can you tell us a bit about some of the other islands as well, like Samos and Kos? Do you know, are there places there? Is there government accommodation? Are there camps in some of these other places? And how much support do people get there?
Actually, the same situation, another island, but not with the same actors. Like, for example, in Samos, we do have around like 12 to 15 NGOs who's trying to work there, not like in Lesvos. We had more than 40 NGOs working here. For example, if you talk about Coast, you don't have any NGOs working there. We've been trying, like we already started a project there, but because of Corona, we have to stop. Like in Coast, for example, they have around 3,800 people, but they don't have any NGOs supporting them there. And people are still alive. This means the authority there or the government, they are doing something. Otherwise, like I'm sure they are supporting them somehow, but in the same time, they need NGOs to give them more things, like to provide for them their need. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay, no, thank you for that. That's really helpful. And so, what is it that you think is people need at the moment, other than perhaps obviously not to be there, and for things to be processed more quickly, and for them to have answers about where they go, which sounds the most important thing, and sounds like something that is all of Europe needs to help with.
I
Um,
believe. Sorry.
no, go.
I believe the government, they need to wake up. Like we are going in really hard time. Like now, especially with Corona, everyone, like all the government, they saw what's happening. Like they had a crisis, but in different way. We do we do have a war in our country, and in the same time now we do have Corona. But today, like the situation here, they can see and they can understand how crisis can be. Like I know a lot of friends who was working, but because of Corona, they stopped. They don't have work anymore. And of course, people I know, like they understand the situation of the refugees, but like those people we had a lot in the world. Now people start to wake up. People start to understand like how you need to stand in line to go and to buy, even to buy food, not to receive it for free. You know what I mean? And now I believe it's the right time for the government to wake up and start to find a solution. Like, again, if all the government, they take their hand away from our country, we will go back there and we will be safe. And I still believe if the if the whole go- if the all the government in the world, they don't stop what's happening today in Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, later we will have the third war and we will have a huge amount of people coming here. Like, we are expecting a new war is going to happen soon and no one is doing anything to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe it's the time to for the government to wake up and start to do something, like change the situation. If they don't want us here, they just said, okay, go back to your country. We cannot serve you anymore. But they are using the name of they are using or they are lying to themselves when they said we have the humanity or we take care of people. But this is lie. They're people, they do. Like, people from here, they really do. They have the humanity and they do care about people. But the government, it's
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, you know some local Greece people as well who've worked with you and been welcoming as well, which is uh, which is really good to hear about as well. Um, so at the moment, with people in camps, is it that people are needing clothing? And I think you've mentioned this a little bit already, but just for people who are listening, trying to understand what it is people need. So clothes and food are still things that people need. Tents, places to live, electricity and water to be put in. Are these all things that they need NGOs to do?
this is what the NGOs is doing now, but this cannot be forever. What people need right now, I believe, people need to live from here. People need to have a new life. People
Mm,
need to start their life somehow. You know what I mean? Of course,
yeah,
all this it's need for a time. Like, we can continue supporting for we can support those people for short time, like to until they get their asylum, until they had their paper to start their life. But the real need for people, it's to know where they are or what they need to do for their future and not just losing time of their life. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Is
I
there?
can I can see it for I can see it for myself, man. Today I'm 26. What, like, imagine a person who spent like 9 or 10 years of his life being in a war, being in in different situation or difficult situation in different time, and I'm a person like who has, I'm not staying in a camp or like I have different capacity to start my life. But when I look to those people, like, I'm not going to leave them alone and just say goodbye and go and start my life. When I see people, they really need the support, and I'm sure if we give the chance to those people to start their life, I'm 100% sure one day they will give it back. Like, if I remember right, in 2018, August 2018, we had a huge fire in Athens. It was like a lot of local, they died, more than 100 people. And I gave a call to the refugees in the mainland saying, the situation there, it's really bad. We need your support. And you cannot even imagine the amount of people they show up to help there. I wonder what some with some of the refugees to support the local, but in the meantime we were supporting them, taking refugees to the hospital to donate blood. Like, you cannot even imagine the amount of people was messaging us to go and support the local. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, imagine today they don't have anything and they still want to help. Imagine if they have their life, or if they, at least if they know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, are there any services there giving legal advice or giving people advice to help them find out what their rights are or how to move forward or how to have their application processed?
We do have different actors here who's doing the legal, uh, who's helping people with the legal way, but still, like, it's not enough. Like, they need more. They need to understand what's going to happen the next. Like, we are not talking about small amount of people. It's a huge amount of people in Greece doing nothing. And to be honest, I'm not blaming the Greek government. I'm blaming EU in general. Like they should do something. If they don't want those people here, they give clear answer to the grid saying we cannot support you in this situation. We don't want these people here. Send them back. You know what I mean? Maybe those people they don't come here anymore. Maybe the
Yeah,
Greek government will decide to keep those people here, but unless they know they are alone in this situation. But until now, it's not clear.
yeah. How aware do you think people are of the situation in Greece when they first come to Greece? Do you think
I
they know
believe
the situation?
zero
Yeah,
information. They don't have an idea what's happening here. 100%. I don't like the last 2 months we had a lot of boats sinking in the sea or the bushback, and I believe if people they know what's happening in the sea, they will never come here.
I suppose there's a lot of people saying a lot of things, and it's hard for anyone to know what to believe and what's real and what's not. And yeah, no, that sounds like one of the really hardest things about it. Um, okay, you have mentioned a little bit already about what's been going on over the last 6 months. Perhaps for the people listening, you could tell us a little bit about what's been happening since January. It's been very difficult, obviously, with the pandemic and with other things, but maybe you could just tell us a bit about what's been going on.
It was really hard situation the last few months. Like we faced some trouble with the fascists here, and as a leader of R4R, I decided to move my team back home, like to send them away from here because I don't believe it's safe for them. But me personally, I decide to stay here. I don't believe myself I'm dangerous because I still believe like forget not only Lesvos. I still believe Greece is my new home. Like here where I start my life, I do have a huge contact here, and I respect people, and people respect me. I don't believe me personally I will be in dangerous, but some of the young people they don't know what they are doing, and they start to attack volunteer in different way. Like we do have a tag in our volunteer house, and I feel really bad. And this the reason why we agreed, like me and the team they should leave from here. I'm not the only person who's working here. Like I do work with. We do have like when we need to take the decision, the team in the ground, we need to agree about it. Like I work very closely with the coordinator on the ground because not everything we are doing it's me the coordinator and the volunteer. We are working together to make the work happen. And when we see the team will be in dangerous, we decide to send them back home. And later the situation calmed down between the fascists and the volunteers, and Corona show up, and we start to face a huge amount of work in really very short time. Like for example, as soon Corona start, we don't have any isolation area. As R4R, we do have a field, and we decide we will support the camp, and also not only the government, we will support the people who's living in the camp to build isolation area for them. And with the support we did from different donor like Donate for Refugees, we managed to build the first isolation area in Lesvos, where we can manage to house around 80 people there to isolate them. And also because the situation with the food line in the camp, we decide to speak with the army and the camp manager to give us a permission to cover uh, a section in the camp where we can have a food line, and we have a ticket system where people can come. For example, right now we are providing food for around 2,000 people who live in the camp, but we don't have 2,000 people attending the line. We had around like 350 people who will come in very short time. They can receive their food, not staying, for example, in the main food line in the camp where they have, for example, the breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning. They have to go there around 2 or 3 o'clock in the night to be in line until 8 o'clock in the morning, and maybe they will receive, maybe not. And this is the reason why people spending most of their time standing in line to receive their need.
So
And
for
we were
those who
trying. Sorry.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say, for those who are listening who might not know, line distributions are quite a common thing in camps in Greece and in Calais and in other places, and it involves being very squashed together. It's very stressful. You're trying to get there before things run out. It's not a very nice experience to begin with, is it? Really, when as a human being doing these lines. So
Like what, especially where we had a huge amount of people, more than 20,000 people living in the camp, they need to attend the same food line. Of course, it's not only us, also another actor who's doing the same project. And this is the reason why we are trying to to support the food line, to have it in different section. This time people, they are not standing in crowd, like a lot of people stand in one area, also for the safety of the, I'm just trying to find the word, it's the distance, to keep
Separation,
distance between,
distance.
yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. So you've obviously it's with the coronavirus, it's affected people in the camps who can't easily isolate. They can't easily stay at home and be separate from other people. There are shared water sources. There are shared clean washing facilities. There are shared things like that. And it's affected your volunteers and how easily you can take your volunteers to places. Has it also affected how many donations or money or support in that you get as well? Has it been harder to get things into Greece to give to people?
Of course, especially with volunteers, it's very hard to bring teams back, to bring the team back to the ground. This one second, the donation the same. Also, we face some problem with the bringing the donation back here, and about the permission to work in the camp, we do have good relationship with authority here, where we had access. During the corona time, we do have access to go around and support the people in the camp. We do get permission to do this kind of work.
That's fantastic. Do you know, we've talked about a lot of the difficulties recently and that generally. So let's talk about some of the good stuff. About what let's talk a bit about refugees for refugees and how many volunteers you have, what you will do, the different places you work, and a bit of detail about the actual, things that you give out, the projects you have, how many vans you have, all the rest of it. Let's hear a little bit about um, all the reasons to feel positive about what you've been doing. So what do refugees for refugees do? I think you mentioned a bit about food. I think you mentioned about
We
so
do actually food distribution, shelter, uh, distribution of NFI, and before we do
so
some activity, but now we
so
have to stop it.
NFI NFI
Sorry.
for those people listening, NFI is non-food items, which is a bit of jargon we use.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and in very happy way, I'm happy to share with you this project. Actually, we don't have it online yet. Since January, we've been working in Syria and Idlib to support one of the camp there, and we managed to support a team in the ground there who built shelter to house around 2,000 people there. But we still the project is finished, but hopefully soon we will publish about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we do also. We work in Samos. We start a community center for women in coast. We built the place, but because of Corona, we have to stop. And in Lesvos, right now we focus only with trying to support the people in the camp with the isolation area and the food line, and we are trying to support the minor situation in different way.
Yeah. So there are a lot of young people there as well, aren't there?
Yeah.
Are there quite a lot of there who are there without their parents as well? So unaccompanied minors
Yeah.
and people. Okay. Uh, and is there particular provision from the government for these young people, or is it sort of the same as
Uh,
everywhere else? Or
Now they are trying to send them to different countries, and we are supporting the government to find the. Of course, we are supporting the government with other actors to find them in the camp where they live and send them to the office of the minors where they do the registration to register them and send them to for the new location to send them to
yeah.
different country there.
Okay, that's a good start. how many volunteers did you have before coronavirus, and how many volunteers do you have now?
Before coronavirus, we do have around like 7 to 8 coordinator in Lesvos, and around 20 to 30 international volunteer and 10 to 20 community volunteers. Today we had 4 coordinator, and we don't have any volunteer until now, but we are really hoping soon they will arrive because we really need their support. Like it's been really hard time for us to do this amount of work without them, and we really need their support to come back here and support us. But we do most of our project right now running with the community volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. And what can people listening do to support Refugees for Refugees? What do you want? What resources do you need?
I
I
think
assume you
we
probably
are,
want some money.
except the money, we are waiting for you here. We are
um,
very, very excited to see you back to the island and work together.
so you want volunteers? Is that something that you'll once you can
Yeah,
get more volunteers back, you'll want to recruit some more people, and they'll be able to come, there'll be places for them to stay, there'll be work for them to do.
yeah, because as soon we will have volunteers, this means we will increase our work more and more.
Yeah, fantastic. I know a few months ago you bought a lot of tents. We sent you some money for tents. We were very pleased. It was 4K, 4 tents, 4 refugees, 4 refugees. Uh,
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for your support.
uh,
Yeah, actually, we mainly support this in Samos because in
mm,
Samos we are the only one who's doing distribution there.
right.
Yeah, we support like the new arrival and the people in the camp. We support them tent, blanket, work clothes, and hygiene items.
Mm, wow. So do you feel like there are people outside of Greece who are there to support you? When you see things like this with Donate for Refugees and the other groups, does it feel like there's a large group of people around Europe trying to help you and support you? Does that uh,
I
do you
just
feel
want to
like that?
say seriously, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone who's donating to us or to our partner, like Donate for Refugees or Choose Love. And yeah, you guys, whenever you donate for them, this means the money will come to us, and we are continue our work here. They are supporting us to continue serving the people here, and we really appreciate that.
Brilliant. Thank you, and we're all really pleased to see you there and to know that there's someone we can try to support. Tell you what, I'm going to read out a few comments for you now from people who've been watching. Let's see. Sue Lacey saying hello. Angus Clark saying hello. Great to see you. Miguel Gomez saying congratulations on your work, my brother. Together 100 asking about coronavirus, which I think you've done really well. And Harper just again was just hoping you're doing well and really glad to hear from you. Laura Darwish was saying expressing a lot of the unhappiness about what the EU has done in this situation, saying volunteers like you have been a lifeline and saved a lot of lives, and thank goodness for the good souls like you helping tirelessly, and
Thank you,
hope like
guys.
you and that you show the true humanity. Together 100 again saying no one should be queuing. So Susanna is saying the situation in this camps was supposed to be temporary, but has been going on for years. Is there any concrete provision for allocating people and legalizing their situation, and who is responsible for it, the EU or the UN? So that's a good question, which a lot of us don't really understand. Is in most refugee camps in the rest of the world, it's the UN would be there and be taking a very strong role in resettling people, but
To be
the
honest, I blame you. I like UN. Yeah, UN is doing great with the cash card, but other other than that, like it's not really huge support to people here. But of course, the cash card it's a huge project for them here.
yeah. But it's I think in answer to your question, Suzanne, I think it's largely the government of Greece is responsible for doing things on the ground, but what they do is very much influenced by the European Union, what they demand from them, what money they give to them, to other things like that. So it's a very, as Omar said, it's a very difficult position for the Greek authorities to end up being responsible for doing all of this, but it's more than, you know, I don't think Britain would do any better in this situation. Yeah, let's see if there's any other questions anyone wants to ask Omar at the moment. Omar, is there anything that anything else you'd like to say? That you'd like to say to people? Anything that messages you'd like to pass on? You've done a really good job so far of telling us everything.
Thank you.
I know it's really scary to having the camera on you and trying to think of everything, but you've done such a good job about telling us details and insights as well. It's been really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for you and Amber for inviting me here. It was really nice. And thanks a lot for everyone who's watching us now or later, and everyone who's supporting us. We really appreciate your support, guys. And I really don't know if you have the power, but I still believe like we need to push all the government to make them believe like the animal living better, the animals having better living conditions thus from us, and this have to change. I'm trying to find even a word for us what we need to call ourselves. We are not even animal, but my message will be always the same. Like, we are not animal, we are human like everyone, but because of the situation in our countries, we have to escape from there, and we end here. And yeah, one day I will find a word how we call ourselves, but until now, like, I don't have any word what to call ourselves. Like, seriously, you cannot even imagine the situation in the camp, how people live, or how they will work in their daily life every day to just keep alive, not even to think about their future or what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Omar. Before we sign off, I'm going to ask you one last question, because it's a practical one that someone's asked from the comments, which was, what does an ideal volunteer look like? How long would they commit to coming to see you? Would you want someone for a week, for a month? And what sort of skills would you like? As I'm sure there's some people listening who, when it opens up, would love to go and help.
Actually, because of coronavirus, now we take this decision together with the team that ground to have minimum 3 months. Like, whoever want to come here except medical, we are welcoming them here. And of course, if you are like a doctor or nurse and you don't know how to reach the medical team, we will be very happy to put you in contact with them. And yeah, because also you need to spend 2 weeks in quarantine to make sure like you are safe, and you will go to the camp and support the people like in safety way. And yeah, I think for now, like, everyone is welcome. If you have experience, will be really helpful for us to keep like any experience you have will be like really useful here and helpful for us to do more work here or to support the people in different way. Like, to be honest, me personally, I always welcome new idea. Like, I'm still young, I'm still trying to learn, and whoever will come to me like with, even like, everyone do a mistake, okay? And maybe I'm sure every day I'm doing a mistake, but sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't see it. And whoever come to speak with me about work, I'm always happy to hear their opinion, because it's not about the experience I have. It's about like we learn from each other. Like, I have something you don't have. You have something I don't have it. Like, especially, to be honest, I'm with electronic. It's really bad. Like, I don't know how to use laptop. I don't like, yeah, seriously. Like, I'm happy to learn if I have time, or if someone wants to teach me something. I will be always happy to learn it. But this is my plan all the time, like improving my English, trying to learn a great, learn laptop, going maybe to the gym, but I, I'm still trying to find the time to do it.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Omar. We really appreciate it. And we know how busy you are as well. So we appreciate you've probably got lots of text messages on your phone now and WhatsApp messages all built up waiting for you just for being
Thank
with
you.
us for an hour. So thank you so much, Omar. You are a source of inspiration for all of us. We're all so impressed with you. Thank you to everybody for joining, everybody watching, for taking some time to keep yourself informed. Again, one of the most important things you can do, as well as donating, giving your time, is to keep yourself informed, keep finding out what's happening in Greece, what's happening in other places, and telling other people. Keep telling people, keep learning, keep telling people. Wonderful people like Omar are here sharing about what's going on so that you can then go and tell other people and amplify that voice. And that's really important. Omar will add his fundraising link in the comments as well, so that people can send any funding if they like. And so our next live from the ground online is going to be on Sunday, the 12th of July from 2 p.m. in the UK, when Joe Chan will be speaking to Sandy Cross of Assist Kiosk, which will be very exciting. So thank you again, Omar. You're absolutely
Thanks a lot.
amazing. Stay safe, stay well. Happy Sunday,
You
everybody.
too. Thank you. Happy Sunday.
Super.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.